What does it mean to be a mother now that you're sober?
It means a lot, really, because I didn't realize how fast time flies. The last 3 years I was strung out, trying to take care of them. I don't really remember. I remember always being an angry mom. I feel like God showed me the way life is supposed to be now, how good it feels to be sober, to be a good mom.
And Mom, you can always change no matter what.
Welcome back to Excursions with Dillon Pastors, where we dive into real stories about faith, recovery, and redemption. Today's episode is powerful, it's raw, and it's proof that God's mercy can reach into the darkest places. Today, I'm honored to speak with someone I deeply respect, Latessa Kesterson. Latessa's been through more than most can imagine, from addiction to heroin, meth, and Xanax. What you're about to hear isn't just about pain, it's about resurrection. Today, Latessa is 9 months clean. She's rebuilding her life and she's walking with strength, grace, and the power of Christ. In this conversation, she opens up about family trauma, her battle with DCS, the streets, recovery, and the faith that's helping her heal. This is Latessa's story, walking through fire, darkness, and deliverance. Let's dive in.
Can you take us into your childhood and what life was like growing up?
I mean, it was really hard because my mom and dad, they split up when I was 4. I was always going back and forth between living with them, living with my mom. My dad had an alcoholic girlfriend one time. That's whenever I noticed my dad drinking a lot. He started hanging around the wrong people. I noticed that because of the way I acted towards my kids whenever I was getting high all the time. Now I realize that was his issue.
So you feel like you adapted kind of like how the way they treated you, and you kind of took that on as a parent as well?
Yeah, and it was mainly my dad. My mom was really good to me. I mean, my dad put me through a lot. He was always going to be my dad, and I couldn't really change that. He didn't really lead me down the right path.
So did you face any abuse or anything in your childhood specifically, or?
A lot of verbal abuse and mental abuse. One time my dad, he did shake me when I was like maybe 5. I don't remember what I did, but he shook me so hard that I was scared to death to tell anybody. And this is the first time I've ever talked about it. That was the first and the last time he had ever done that.
You know why he did it, or?
No, I was maybe 5 or 6 whenever it happened.
Did you go, you went to school and everything?
Yep.
So how was school for you?
I got into drugs whenever I started 7th grade. No, wait, my freshman year. Because I got a tooth pulled, they prescribed me hydrocodone. So I started with doing all that. I ran out of my medicine. I told my dad. He said, well, I got something that'll make it feel, I got something that'll help it better. He had Percocet 10s. He had that, and he had Xanaxes and fentanyl. And that's where that started.
So what was that? What was that first experience like when you, as a kid, did you feel high from it? Obviously, I mean, you get high, but you know what I'm saying? Like, what was it? What was going through your mind when you did it? Like, oh, this is exactly what I need, or?
Yeah, like it helped with the pain, but then like I was wanting more because I liked the way it made me feel.
Yeah. So your dad was there just emotionally. You feel like he wasn't really present, but he was emotionally there in an abusive kind of way. But you were provided for though, right? You had a home. You had all that food.
He did what he could, but I mean, whenever he had custody of me, I only had 2 pairs of jeans to last me my whole school year. And my dad acted like he didn't know. And I was getting made fun of at school for it. Well, fast forward to all that, he let the electricity get shut off, the water get shut off. So then I had to go and be a stripper to make money to get the bills paid, to take care of my dad. And then that's whenever I got on heroin.
Did he made you do that, or?
No, he didn't make me.
You just felt like on your own you had to do that to provide. So you found heroin when you were being a stripper?
Yeah, because I mean, I love the money, but I just felt like I wasn't respecting myself like I should have. I tried to fill that void with doing heroin to
Yeah.
help me function and try to act happy to make money.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I can only imagine. Yeah, it's like your spirit, the way it makes your spirit feel, it gives you conviction. You know, like you feel like, man, I'm disgusting for doing this. But at the end of the day, though, you had to do what you had to do. You know what I mean? And it seems like that's all you knew at that point.
yeah.
If you can just tell your story from when you started, the first time you started using, and your experiences through using, and how that went. If you have any specific moments that stick out to you that you remember.
When I was in high school, that's mainly whenever it started. I would lie to my mom, tell her that me and my friends were going to the movies. I need $20. Then me and my friends would go to a guy's house, get drunk, get high, do pills and Xanaxes. That's how all every weekend went for me through school. That was before I turned 18. It's all like a blur. I remember really traumatizing moments. My ex boyfriend, it was like his mom, but it wasn't his mom, it was his best friend's mom. She found me in the police station, the old one off of where they had that playground.
Yeah, I
Well,
know what you're talking about.
yeah, she found me there, passed out drunk. She dragged me through my mom's front door and said, "Here's your daughter. I found her laying in a field by the police station." I remember that.
Your drug of choice is meth, right? Meth and
Yeah.
heroin. What led you? What led you specifically to meth?
Okay, whenever I think I was in the middle of my stripping career, Tyler got me to stop dancing because I was on heroin. He didn't want me on it. That's how me and him ended up meeting again. He was helping me with some methadone to help me get off of it. Well, I was tapering down from the methadone and I was good, but I was also tired. So it was all mainly me because I was wanting the meth.
Yeah,
It was always me wanting it. And everybody's coming at him thinking that it was all his fault when it really wasn't.
right. I understand. Yeah. So, how did it solve what you were feeling? Your body image, your exhaustion, pressure.
It helped me lose weight. It was cheaper getting high off meth than trying to afford to buy groceries every day. And that's just another reason why I did it. It just ended up spiraling out of control.
So, what was that like holding down a job, raising your kids, and at the same time being able to use daily?
I couldn't hold a job down. I was mainly a waitress after having kids and being on that shit because it was money every night. It was quick money. All that money would go to dope. So we would get more. I just had that I don't give a shit attitude and I would just walk out on my job or wouldn't go in until I had my fix. I'd end up losing my job and getting hired back on and repeating it. There was not no holding a job down, got behind on bills, had to wait till tax time to find a house. We paid rent one time and we paid the damage deposit one time and we didn't pay rent till we haven't paid rent or anything there since that. If we weren't spending money on all the drugs, then we wouldn't have ever lost our house.
For you, when did it go from snorting to shooting? You did shoot up, right?
Huh?
You have shot up, right? Before?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I think we all have.
Yeah. Well, I was doing more than Tyler was. He couldn't figure out why I wasn't feeling it, but he was doing it that way behind my back because I didn't want that around me. But I had no problem having all that shit in the house. I had a problem with needles. I told him that I wasn't feeling it, and he said I was doing too much of it. So I said, okay, I'm going to start shooting it. That way we could have more, and I'll get more out of it by
Yeah,
using less, by doing it that way. That didn't lead to anything but get my kids taken.
I understand. I want to actually ask you. You remember me, right? Because I came over to the house on Dale Street, and
Yes, how could I forget you?
I was a baby, dude. I think, right? I
Yeah,
was still like a baby. I was getting high too, though. I remember getting high with Tyler a couple of times,
yeah.
and I remember wigging out one time. We was actually driving. I thought he was messing with me, but he took me out to his house out in the country or something. I don't know. It's a fall, but I don't remember much of it. But like that whole experience, I was like, I gotta stay away from him. You know what I mean? Like, but nah, not that he's a bad dude. I'm not saying he's a bad guy, right? But at that time, right, I just had a lot of stuff in my head. So if you want though, if you could talk about DCS court, your utilities and all that stuff getting shut off all at once, can you go into that a little bit?
We did have Hoosier Uplands helping us with our electric bill. They paid, and that was in the wintertime, but I thought they were going to continuously pay it. I found out pretty quick that they weren't. First, we got the water shut off. It happened twice. We got an eviction notice 2 days after that. And then the day of the eviction notice, our power got cut off. It all happened at once. Our daughter was on she was on problem solving court, house arrest, probation. She had to do all that stuff. And her being in our household, we got drug tested. Of course, we didn't pass the test.
What happened? Did DCS just show up to your house and knock on the door and was like, "Hey"?
I went to the house and got me and the boys stuff and came to my mom's house. Tyler was not allowed here. My mom wasn't too happy with him. He was wherever he could find somewhere to stay, and the kids were here. My mom wakes up. She usually goes outside to sit on the front porch in the morning and drink her coffee. Well, that morning she opens the door to Lebowski outside and a DCS worker. They asked for me and they said that you failed your drug screen for meth, so we're detaining your kids. Lebowski, I lost it and he said, "Stop crying. There's no need to cry. You did this." I'm like, "Don't tell me not to cry. I mean, I'm losing my kids."
Yeah,
I took accountability for it.
right.
I had to try to figure out where my boys were going to go. With my mom's boyfriend living here at the time, he was on probation too. So they couldn't be in the same house as that. So then he had to move out so the boys could stay in the family. Whole family got ripped apart. Everything got really, really messed up.
Yeah, I know. I know it all too well too, man. I just went through it, and my situation was kind of a little bit different. I wasn't using or anything, right? And I obviously I have a violent history. Hey, I opened the door for these people and I allowed them into my house and I was honest with them and truthful with them. And they turned around and weaponized that against me and my wife. And they took full advantage of what they could have, right? And then they made me leave my own house that I just bought. Whenever I called them, because I just bought the house, I needed to put some of the utilities in, right? Like the stove wasn't working, the water needed hooked up. There was a lot of things that needed done with the house. So I called them and said, "Hey, I'm going to go to the house and fix these things. Is that okay?" They told me yes over the phone, right? I never recorded it. I went over to the house, did all those things, and my neighbor and all that seems they called and said something, which I don't understand why neighbors do these things, right? It's pretty messed up. And so when that had happened, they had made a whole issue about it and said that I was staying over at the house and all this stuff, right? Well, that ultimately ended up leading into that wasn't the only situation. Obviously, my wife has past history too, but the fact is we was honest with the people. See, there's a law under Title 15A in the state of Maine where if they even think that your kids are unsafe, they can come and steal your kids pretty much, right? All they got to do is think it. They don't have to have evidence of it. They just got to think that their kids are unsafe. There's literally down my whole street in that town, there is literally everybody in their household has either know somebody or is somebody that brought their kids to DCS. Now, I'm not saying that DCS is all that bad, but what I've understood is that they take kids from good homes, from people that actually love their kids, whether they're making mistakes or not. And then they put them in a house. My kids, my stepkids, they had been put in a home where uh they've been put in a home where there was actual domestic violence. There wasn't ever domestic violence in my house. And there was actually a domestic violence situation where the dude beat up his wife and still let the kids stay there for 3 days after that. So my situation with DCS is we can relate on that on that situation, right? Even though that you made your mistake, but you took accountability for it, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of times you don't see women take accountability for their actions today. So I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you take accountability for it, you moved on from it, but I still don't think DCS should be involved in anybody's lives. I don't wish that on nobody.
Yeah, I don't either.
And I think that I can see you love your kids and you still love your kids, right? And you're a good mother and you take care of them. Even though you was going through your own situation, it seems like you wasn't doing half as what you were actually there and involved, you know? But I don't want to, I'm not going to bash DCS, but I don't agree with DCS, right? Because they weaponize and they have a dark force behind them and they unload their demons on the families.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it's a horrible situation. So I know it all too well with you. And I'm sorry that you dealt with it, but the main thing is that everything's working out, right? It's going forward. And I pray for Tyler and I hope that everything works out for him in that situation too, because I know what he's going through 100%. It destroyed my marriage, destroyed my life. It broke my heart in half, you know? And then you know what they do as well? They give you the resources to completely turn on your man, right? They'll give you those resources. They'll throw it in your face and hold it over your head, do all types of stuff like that. How did it make you feel when they took your kids?
And my world was destroyed. I didn't know what to do with myself. I mean, it's like they expected me to stay sober after losing everything. But I think that's where they really try to test you to see if you really do love your kids.
Yeah.
After they did take them, I'm not going to lie, before I started doing my drug screens, I was getting as high as I could.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to even think about what happened. It happened
Yeah,
2 days before Kaiser's birthday.
Yeah, I mean that would destroy you. I understand 100%. I was doing good in my life, and it wasn't until DCS got involved with me and my family that it destroyed me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and what's messed up is that someone made a phone call, and then they just continuously put us down this bad place, right? And it was a phone call that it was lies. You know what I mean? It was lies.
Yeah.
I understand that feeling. And I got high. I ended up relapsing 7 months ago because of all that. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So I feel you on that. It makes you worse. It puts you in a worse place. They think they're doing something good for you and they're not. They think they're doing something good for the kids. They're not. They're destroying them. And they're destroying you at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But in their minds, they're doing something good. You know, but that's the way that they're trained. They're taught and trained to 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 do these things, right? They go to school for this stuff and they're reading it out of a book, but they're not going through actual life experience. You see what I'm saying?
Right. Mm-hmm.
So you told me at some point you locked yourself in the bathroom or something.
Yep.
What happened with all that? What was that? What was going through your mind? Why did you lock yourself in the bathroom? What was that about?
First, we ended up having to literally drill our bedroom door shut because the kids would not give us no privacy, wouldn't give us no time to do anything. Like,
Yeah.
even whenever we were trying to get dressed, I just started going to the bathroom, and that I would be in there about 30 minutes, 3 times a day, trying to get my shot done.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't function without it. They would be banging on the door, wanting me to come out, asking me what I'm doing. And I had to lie to them and tell them that I was just using the bathroom. I'll be out in a minute. After I did it, I was trying to get my head back on straight so I could go out the bathroom door and act normal.
Yeah.
And like, I would get everything done for them that they wanted me to do, but I just I couldn't trick myself into, I don't even know how to say it. Like, it's a mind thing.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't take care of my kids if I didn't have my shot.
Right.
So
No, I understand. I appreciate your honesty. It takes a lot for you to open up and be real about that, you know, and I think that you saying that specifically, there's moms out there right now that are going through the same situation that you just went through, you know.
mhm,
The main thing is that you're not doing that anymore, right? So
yeah.
that's the best thing about it, you know what I mean? And you're learning from it. You've learned from it, you know. What lies were you telling yourself and what truths were you kind of avoiding?
Lying to myself, like thinking that this was the only way I was going to be able to function on a daily basis. This is the only way I'm going to be able to get through life to make sure my kids are taken care of. But I knew the truth, like, that's not how I need to be able to raise my kids.
Right.
I mean, that's basically it.
Yeah.
Like, I remember, like, a week before everything got shut off, I looked at Tyler. When we were getting everything ready, I said, I really don't want to be doing this anymore.
Mm.
He was reading my mind.
Yeah.
He's like, you don't even have to say anything,
Yeah.
because he felt the same guilt that I felt.
Yeah. It seems like you and him are pretty connected.
We
Right?
are.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And you know, a love like that, there's nothing wrong with that. You know, that's the kind of love that you know what I'm saying, they want to take away from you, you know, or try to destroy it. And
Yeah,
I can
that's what
only
he's.
imagine what he's going through, you know. I can. And I commend the both of you, you know. At the end of the day, we make our own decisions, we get ourselves in these situations, but at the end of the day, you're getting better.
Yeah.
So the best part about it, which I'm very proud of you, is you're now 9 months sober, right?
Mm-hmm.
9 months, right? So
Yep.
how did you start the path back to being clean again?
Honestly, getting put back on my Suboxone.
Mm.
If I didn't have that, no, you take that back over there. But if I didn't get put back on my medicine, I couldn't function, especially not having the kids, not having anything to keep my mind occupied and keep myself busy. I mean, I couldn't sleep. I was constantly, my whole body was restless.
Mm.
My mind was constantly going. And if I didn't get put back on that, then I was going to be getting high.
Yeah. I think MAT is a good thing. I don't think it's something that we should be on forever, but I
Right.
personally am on MAT. So like, I don't know what they call it in Indiana. Is it MAT?
I
Medicated?
have no idea.
Oh, well, out here they call it medicated assisted treatment. But I
Mm.
think that that's good for anybody that is a drug addict and is trying to come off of drugs. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Some people have their own ideas like, you're not sober if you're on MAT, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm doing the best I can, you know? I'm being a better person. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
So,
For real.
yeah, you know? So, what kept you clean when you were on the streets and surrounded by temptation? I don't even know where that question came from, but whatever.
Oh, just thinking of my kids. I mean, like, I would be in a room full of it. All I could think about is my kids. I had my phone, and that's all I had. And I was constantly looking at their pictures,
Mm.
our videos, and just wishing things didn't happen the way that they did.
Yeah, man, I think about it now. Like, I, I had man, I ain't even going to go into it, but Satan is just bad, right? And Satan wants to destroy your family at all
Yep.
costs, in all ways he can.
Hmm.
And I can only imagine what it feels like to sit there and look at the kids' photos because I do it today. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do it today, and I wake up. Sometimes I just go literally over to my phone to look at the news thing, and then you know how at the top of your iPhone it shows your memories.
Yep.
I always see my wife and the kids, and all that stuff, and I'm like, man, I didn't even want to see that today. And then I don't want to delete it. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? But I'm trying to move on. But I don't want to, you know what I mean? Like I'm in a bad place too. I feel you. For real.
Yeah.
So what
Gonna
did
make
your
me
kids?
cry.
Oh no, it's all right. You can cry. I wish I could cry. I got my heart's not hardened. I got Christ now, but like I'm like I don't even know how to express. You know what I'm saying? I can't. Like I just can't express it. Like it's
I
just
know.
it's just a burden I'm carrying. You know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know.
What did your kids say when you came home?
They were really happy. Like, but they did ask, well, where's my daddy? What about my dad? And
Oh yeah,
I was like, well, I'm home. I'm
yeah,
trying to do what I can. There's just not enough room here for dad. And
yeah.
dad's trying to get his life back on track. But the only way that I was going to be able to do it, my mom, oh my gosh, my mom wanted me to come back home to help with this one. Can you hear her screaming?
Yeah.
But yeah, she wanted me to come back and help with him. And he started getting better after I came home. So
Yeah.
everything's
Well, I
better
mean,
with me
they
here.
need mommy, you know. They need
Yeah,
daddy too, for sure. All
they
kids
really
need dad.
do.
You
They
know, and
love him.
I remember when the kids would all, I don't know if they ask about me now. And like I said, I'm not, but I remember when they would always ask about me. And,
Mhm.
you know, my wife would show me things and it would break my heart. And I would try to avoid it. I was bitter 7 months ago. You know what I'm saying? I was real
Yeah.
bitter towards the situation. I can talk about it now though, you know, and, but I remember when I was going to visits and I felt it in my heart that they was going to cut the visits off. So I told Morgan that day, I said, look, I want to tell them bye because I just feel like this is coming. I know that they're going to do this to me. I just
Yeah.
felt it in my spirit, right? Well, me and her got into a little debacle over it, and she didn't want me to say nothing because she didn't think that was going to happen. Bam, they cut it off, right? And I didn't get to say goodbye or nothing. And I know that they ask about me all the time, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's just I can't do nothing. You know what I mean? I can't do nothing about it. What am I gonna do? You know? And that's why I can resonate with Tyler. I'm sure he's going through it right now.
Yeah. He doesn't
Yeah.
know how to, because I'm the only thing that he's got,
Yeah.
but we can't be together
Right.
because, I mean, just, I don't know. He thinks that DCS is really trying to tear our family apart.
Yeah. Well, I
And
can understand that. You know what I mean? So I
yeah.
understand how he feels, but for me, I can say this for me, I just left. I knew that if I stayed in that situation, I wasn't making it any better.
Yeah.
They was only using me as a weapon to keep the kids away to you know what I'm saying? They was only using me as a weapon. So one
Same
night,
situation.
yeah, one night I got in my car and I just left. And it broke
Mhm.
my heart. And I ended up going to jail. I crashed my car, right? Because I got high and went through this whole thing about it, but I left because I
Yeah.
thought, you know what? I ain't doing nothing good here. I gave her the house, all that stuff, you know what I mean? And I know that I did hurt her, right? Because I was angry. Hurt people.
Yeah.
Heal people. At this moment, I was broken. So, you know, there was times that I took it out on her and I didn't mean to, right? It was unintentional. I didn't want to do that. You know, I love her, you know, I
Hmm.
still love her, you know, but what am I going to do, right? But I commend his situation. I get what he's going through and it's really sad. And I'm sorry that you got to deal with that too. But as for me, I'm not going to tell him what to do. But as for me, I just left.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll carry that burden. I'll carry that pain, and just maybe, hopefully, on the back end, it'll all come back around, and everything will work out. And that's I guarantee you is what's going to happen with you eventually at some point. You know. I think it's important to speak the truth, though, right?
Hmm.
And raise awareness to what's going on in today's world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What does it mean to be a mother now that you're sober?
It means a lot, really, because I didn't realize how fast time flies. The last 3 years I was strung out trying to take care of them. I don't really remember. I remember always being an angry mom and always just worried about getting high. But I did make sure they were taken care of. But now I'm I'm taking like my time and cherishing the moments a lot more than I did before. They're they're precious.
Yeah. No, that's amazing. I'm happy for you. I'm grateful that you get to have that. And you know what I mean? I really
Yeah,
am.
me too.
Um, so what is God showing you about healing for your kids and for yourself?
I feel like God showed me the way life is supposed to be now and how good it feels to be sober and to be a good mom. I feel like I was missing God in my heart
Yeah.
because I was filling that with drugs instead.
Mm. So how did you come to find God? Did you just break down or did he just reveal himself to you or
Uh, yeah, because I couldn't do it. Like I prayed every night. I prayed every day. So,
that's awesome. So
well,
what's
he helped me a lot get sober.
what's something you wish every mom out there in addiction knew?
That there is a way out. It
Mm.
might not feel like it, but you just gotta be strong enough to just leave the shit alone. because those kids love you. The drugs don't.
Yeah, that's right.
Those kids need you more than you need those drugs.
What would you say to just any regular woman, maybe not a mother, that is struggling right now? They feel like they're in hell. They feel like they sold their soul. There's no turning back. What would you say to that person?
That there is hope. You can get clean. I mean, you just gotta, it's people, places, and things. And that's what we always heard in school, but I never really listened to that. I mean,
and Mom, you can always change no matter what.
That's right.
yeah,
That's right. He's a smart one, huh?
he is. Yep, DCS already told him all about everything, so
Yeah.
yeah, they
See,
weren't
that's
supposed
something
to.
too. I feel like that's something too. I feel like that should be up to you. You know?
Exactly. Yep.
And they shouldn't just be allowed to just have conversations with the children and stuff like that. They did that stuff too when I would go to the visits. They would say that we couldn't say certain things and this and that and all
Yep.
this. And it's like, I don't want to lie to my kids. I'm not going to lie to my kids. I tell my kids the
Right.
truth. My kids know the truth. I don't even tell them about Santa. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I did the Christmas thing, right? But I'm not. I tell the truth. That's
Yeah.
why I created this platform. It's to speak the truth, right?
Yep.
The truth is what matters, and there's a lot of lies and betrayal that is in that circle over there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without saying who it is, you know what I mean? You did really good. I'm really proud of you. Can you share what your experience was being on this podcast?
I mean, it made me feel a lot better, honestly, because I got my story out there. This is the first time I've ever spoke about my addiction and my childhood and what led to my drug use.
Recommend it for other people?
Yeah. It'll make them feel better.
All right. People that are judging you, that's going to come back around tenfold on them anyway.
Yeah, because that could be them tomorrow.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
exactly.
I didn't expect my life to end up this way, but it did.
Right.
So,
but it did for the better, though. You went through all of that. You went through that hell to get to heaven. You know what I'm saying? And you know, Jesus didn't hang out with all the people that were good and holy and in the church and preaching all this gospel. He hung out with murderers and people that were spit on and all that. You know what I mean? He hung out with horrible people, and he taught those horrible people how to be better people.
yeah.
So throughout your hell, it even says in the Bible, it says that even if you make your bed in hell, I'll lay in it with you. And that's what Jesus says that to us. He'll lay in that bed with us. So like, I believe that God has had his hand on you throughout your whole experience. And I think that he's going to use your testimony to reach other people. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you believe in Jesus, right?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I think we all should. I feel like everybody should.
Yeah. I mean,
I understand the struggle though, because I struck 7 months ago. I wasn't calling on Jesus, dog. I was in a place to where I went to jail when this is when I left. I was like, I'm leaving, right? And I went to jail. I was getting arrested, and I had felt all these demons on me. And it was such a demonic experience. I could literally smell my sin burn off of me. And there was this bright light that was following me. And it was like burning me, right? And I was scared to come to the light. It was freaking me out. It's a crazy experience. I don't know how to explain it, right?
yeah.
And like all of a sudden I'm getting arrested. I was trying to like get out of there, right? I ended up getting arrested. I'm in the police station and I start going through like deliverance and I start calling on Jesus. I'm like, Jesus, save me. Like, Satan, you cannot have my soul, like all this, right? And the cops thought I was calling them demons and fighting them. I was really having a spiritual battle right now. You know what I mean? Like I was literally going through it. Like I felt my soul burning in hell. I was watching my skin melt off of my bones and come back. It was the craziest experience I ever experienced. And that's what turned me to God. But when I finally called on Jesus, I woke up the next morning in the hospital bed. I was chained to it and I had a mask over my head, like a spit mask, right? I was in the worst position I've ever been in my life. I just left my family, right? Because all this stuff going on with DCS. I've been in the bottomless pit, dog. And I literally had this peace come over me that I've never felt before in my life. And that's how I knew Jesus like revealed himself to me. And like a few days before that, I was grieving the Holy Spirit and I was sitting there making it seem like I felt like I was God. I didn't think Jesus was who he was. And I was knocking on that door, right? I was like, nah, like Like, I don't believe this, right? And I was asking God, I want to know the truth. I want to know the truth. And
Yeah.
it revealed itself to me right there. And ever since that experience, I would never go back and get high. None of that. You know what I mean? I'm surprised I'm still smoking nicotine. I really don't even want to smoke nicotine no more. But some things still have a hold on me, but we're sinful people. So like, we're going to have still some struggles, I'm still on the Subbutech. I don't want to be on that no more,
Yeah.
but I'm sorry. You know what? Sherman told me I wasn't even going to share nothing. I was just going to let you talk, but Sherman was like, nah, you need to start talking in the podcast and start saying how
It
you feel.
helps.
Yeah. He told me I need to start telling people like how I resonate with them.